soon as that. Whenever you want. Yep. That's what I had it down for. It's good. Just don't let me forget, because I'll be halfway home.
Is the math add up on us?
Which quarter?
Does the math add up?
I hope so. Okay. We'll check it. Teach you too.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Only have 12 people.
What do we do?
E13, I think. Eric Bart said he was coming, and he's not here.
Okay, we're short one person for a call.
It's ridiculous. Who's on there? 1, 2,
I got 14.
All right. All right. We good. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I always say just keep in mind our friends across the world, particularly our EMS providers and all the medics out there working to help what's going on in that forsaken country there. Hope it never, ever comes this way. So we will start with public comment. Any comments from the public? We have public. We have public.
No comment.
No comment from the public. Approval of our last minutes. I'll take a motion. All right. We got Bill, Crystal. Anything on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? Carries. Correspondence. See correspondence report. Anything stick out in there that you want to go over?
So it was emailed out. Hopefully I read it. We had an email from Western New York Stress Reduction for Group Crisis Intervention. New York State Department of Health, notice of hearing against Christopher Kitchens. Western New York Stress Reduction, an invoice for 2022 for $2,500. Aero Instruments and Avionics, a PAD application. Niagara Amusement Park and Splash World, a PAD application. Sisters of Charity Hospital, a letter requesting Dr. Andrew Tisser, DO, to be their physician representative for the REMAC. Another thing from Western New York Stress regarding advanced group crisis intervention. And then I have enforcement actions for Pamela Asherdorf, case number 201-60604. For John Sinelli, case number 201-90218. Matthew Martinez, 202-00161. Robert Gala, case number 201-90275. Johnstown Area Volunteer Ambulance Corps, case number 201-90313. Eric Gisler, case number 201-90463. Thomas Warrington, case number 201-90671. Kevin Steger, case number 202-10307. Will Davis, case number 202-00254. Kevin Steger, case number 2021-0307. James Philibin, case number 201-90312. Mountaindale Fire Department First Aid Squad, case number 201-90382. Nassau County Police Department, case number 202-00207. Richard Harold Jr., case number 202-00255. James Schofield, case number 202-00376. Robert Lukens, case number 202-00475. Sybil Frost, case number 202-10141. Keisha Bronkington, case number 201-90387. And last one, Justin Oberek, case number 201-90296. These will all be on file with the secretary.
Things aren't that bad. This has been a collection over time that we haven't had the ability to put into the minutes or anything like that. And it's a requirement by the state that the councils, all councils, do read enforcement actions into the record. So sorry, thank you for your patience on that, but we should be caught up right now.
So I'll put that on my correspondence for next month, just so you know it's going to be updated when I go home. Okay.
Always wonder if my name's gonna come up. Anything else for correspondence? Treasurer's report, Ms. Barber.
Hello, everyone. There isn't much to report for this. Since the last meeting, so far we have had no additional expenditures. We do have a payment coming up to UBMD for the $3,000 quarterly payment that we make. That I usually write at the end of towards the end of the quarter. So that will be expended this month. Also, I know we do have an invoice from the Western New York Stress Reduction Program for $2,500 that is budgeted, but I like to bring it up before I make any payment prior to sending the check out, just to make the board aware, or the council aware. Are there any questions as far as the report? As I said, there haven't been any additional expenditures since January.
You wanna bring it up, the $2,500, just for notification
Yes.
or for discussion?
I'm not sure if we really need to vote on it, or if the council has any questions.
I would believe that if
Comments?
it's voted into the, and it's got a line item in the budget that we voted on it already.
Yes.
Any questions on that, or? No, I think you're good to go.
Okay. Also, I had spoken to a woman from the State Health Department about submitting our vouchers for this quarter. Our previous 2 quarters have already been vouchered. We still have not gotten payment, but I received an email from this woman, Ms. Shannon, stating if we had any issue that we hadn't been paid yet, she's going to be handling that through the end of this week and to the next couple of weeks, that we should have payment by next week for the first 2 quarters that were vouchered. For the 3rd quarter, they are asking now, I also received an email asking the WEREMSCOs to submit partial voucher for January, February, and she said I could include March for writing the check to UBMD. I can include the $3,000 and be voucher, but they want to get everything in ahead of time, and said as soon as possible to ensure payment with encumbered aid to locality for the current state fiscal year, because the state's fiscal year ends, of course, the end of March, even though our contract does not expire until the end of June. So I will be submitting the claim for the $3,000.
Okay.
And then also I will be asking for the invoice from South Wales Fire Department for the $500 that's budgeted each year for fee for use of the hall. And before, when I receive that, also, should we wait till the next meeting, or would you like me to just make payment on that, or?
Is that already written in the budget
It's
too?
in the budget, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to, if there's any questions, I know last year we did not use the hall like we normally do, but we did decide to continue that agreement, or we have, and follow through on making the payment. So I will, when I receive that invoice, I'll go ahead and make that payment to.
And when do we start our next budget prep?
Well, the fiscal year starts in July. We could put something together soon for the next, when the next meeting is May. We can have the budget committee get together and start putting things together. I know we have a new 5-year contract that'll be coming up also.
I'd like to float one thing about the new budget.
Yes.
Do we want as a group to consider some kind of assessment of EMS in the counties? I've had some conversations with Bill about it, and we have some slightly opposing views on it, and I think I understand your position, and I agree with it, but is it worth, I mean, these reviews are expensive to get done, especially if you do it right. I think Genesee County spent upwards of $100,000.
Yes.
Right? Niagara County tried to do the assessment internally, which you can imagine what the people power time was, and the work that was involved in it. Do we think that we need to start looking at an assessment of EMS in Erie and Wyoming County by an outside agency, and open up the discussion?
Are
Mr.
you
Brown?
asking about engaging a consulting practices group to talk about efficacy options, all of those things?
I think it's all those things. What I don't want to see is that we bog down the committee, the council here with doing the work. I think we need somebody that's removed, that can do make a true observation and come up with their assessment and recommendations. I mean, how deep we get into it, I mean, we can create a tag to work on what we want to get out of it. But I think, and I think, Bill, if I can say what we'll be paying somebody to tell us what we know. You know, but sometimes if we have to go to other people, it's helpful to have an outside view on it that's not local. I'm just, is it the, go ahead.
If I may, Wyoming County is somewhat already embarked. We understand we have a problem. I was going to bring it up in my report later. We've already had a county-wide meeting with elected officials in the EMS community. Everybody was invited, had a card, plus leadership and elected officials. And so we've somewhat already embarked on trying to identify what EMS might look like in Wyoming County down the road. We do understand there is a problem, we all understand that. And what's going to be the best fit for Wyoming County. We took a look across the state, and we presented 4 different models from 4 different counties: Columbia, Otsego, Livingston, and Shenango, I think it was. Similar in size.
Shenango.
I think it's Shenango, I'm pretty sure. Similar in size, but different style operations that have been fired up. 2 of them have been going for 11 years, fairly successful. 1 of them just about budget neutral. The others, it's costing some money. And the one just really started up, Otsego just started up in end of 21. So we might be, I'm thinking we might be past that, somebody telling us that we have a problem. We've already started the conversations. We've already met with one village, upon their request, that have a discussion with them. So we might be already too far ahead.
Good for you. We'll follow you.
Well, I'm not sure if that's good or bad. We all wish that everybody could maintain, and, go back to, I think what most of us we're used to, but the way it's going right now, it's not sustainable for sure. And our point in Wyoming County as well is the fact if there can and will be survivors. Not everybody has to jump on board with a program that we come up with all this information from all of our partners and everything like that. But if there's strong entities out there and they survive, life is great. We don't care. That's fine. we're not pushing anybody out the door. That's for sure. So, it's been an interesting ride so far, but we're early into it.
No vandalism at your house at all?
What house?
Something we want to think about for a month, or a month or two, and come back and think about it, because we got time. I mean, I just, again, we know the forces we're dealing with and what we have out there, and there is room for improvement, I'm sure. Mark?
Just for consideration, I think that there's enough difference in geography, population, call line, call nature, there's available resources in terms of hospitals, EMS assets. Wyoming County's already down this path. For whatever reason you decided to get started early, I think it probably collectively falls within the scope of our responsibility under Article 30 and something we should consider. But in terms of practical response, in terms of getting any sort of guidance that relates to the specific variables and the contingency variables of the relative geographic and geopolitical areas, it's probably not the council's responsibility at that point. If it's going to be Wyoming County's already out on its own in Erie County, I don't know. Greg, certainly you can speak to Erie County maybe a little bit more, but
I'm
I don't
looking
know
for help.
that. I think Erie County is probably heterogeneous enough that one study's not going to cover it, or one solution's not going to cover everything for the county.
And I think Erie County compared to Wyoming, we're rural, that's a fact, I live in one hospital. And Erie County, because they're so suburban, a good, was it 75% suburban, would you say?
Yeah, but it's interesting, the short distances you travel, how you do drop off from a high
We're
density
running-
city
Some
spot.
agencies are running 3-hour calls.
Yeah.
For the transport piece, whether, you get into your suburbans, it's a half-hour job, and most of them don't transport anymore, if I'm correct,
Well, that's what I'm starting to see now with volunteers. Volunteers aren't transporting. And a lot of it has to do, and no, not picking it, is the turnaround time and the transport time. And as we saw a couple months ago, when we had not only the COVID situation, but we had the employment situation, that truly altered transport. I mean, just the ambulances for Orchard Park have put on so many more miles because they aren't driving down the block to the Mac or Mercy. They're driving up to Amherst. They're driving all over the place trying to, and so they're out of service for that period of time, which now you rely on the volunteers to follow and fill in, and it's difficult for them because they don't want to go to, from Orchard Park, they don't want to go to Amherst. So it's huge.
The other challenge you have here in consideration is how far are we going to get into anything with the $5,000 or $8,000 we might have left in our budget.
Well, and that's why I'm looking at what we have left in the budget and then what we can commit from the next budget. All right, this might be a multi-year thing. I mean, I think it's not a disaster happening right now. We're making it through, I think. All right, but I think we need a more solid response to it. Ed, you got anything? I mean, what's going on across the state?
I mean, I think, there's various, we just had a recent study from, Steuben County, Wyoming County, taking, a different approach. And I think that, there's not necessarily one solution that fits every, geopolitical zone. EMS is obviously, there's a bit of a crisis. We've got staffing issues, we've got call demand issues, we've got, the COVID crisis, we've got workforce issues related to, not only the staffing, the wages, and, volunteerism is, is challenging. So I think any efforts that you can put into, have a data-driven system to look for solutions, is good. I mean, I think the expense side of, professional study is probably pretty significant, and, I don't know what other funding sources you could find to, incorporate that. But, I think I like Bill's point that, you already know what you know, but sometimes it's good to have something that validates and identifies what, from a systems perspective, what's out there and what the recommendations would be. So, but you could also generally look at many of the studies that have occurred across the state and, kind of come up with some, but there's not one thing that fits all, I guess is what I'd say. So I think there's advantages and disadvantages and sort of strengths and weaknesses, but I think something needs to occur, from the perspective of what are we doing 3 years, 5 years, 6 months out. So
Do we bring other people together, like the hospital systems? Do we bring in fire, stuff like that, and try to have some kind of large meeting, just to, everybody knows it. But if you sit in the same room and you hear how the ambulance is affected by the hospital is affected by the ambulance, where we transport, or how it's all affected by the volunteerism. I mean, if the volunteer fire company is working a fire, they have just enough people to take care of the fire. They don't have enough people to transport the patients. There's so many moving parts here that for us, my thing is for us to do it as a council, as a group, it could be daunting. It could be overwhelming.
One thing I'd like to do, take off of Brian, is this shared services grant a couple years prior to the pandemic. We received one of those, and we put an RFP out, and we had about 20 grand to spend on this, okay, just for Wyoming County. And we put the RFP out twice and never got a bite.
Yeah.
So 5 grand, it's not gonna buy anything.
Yeah.
I tried to figure out a way that we could do it under COVID funds. Did anybody want to guess what the response was? You better do a lot of testing. And give a lot of vaccination during it, so. All right, I just threw it out there. Again, I'm looking at, well, I don't even know if we can spend the money on a study. I mean, I'd have to check with Albany to see if that's an appropriate expense.
The other suggestion would be is if you can find somebody who's doing a graduate program through UB, et cetera.
Yeah.
That would be, they would be within that $5,000 range, and as part of the graduate program, they're willing to do the study.
I did reach out to UB for another type of study, and they do have, like you said, they have people that need something for their thesis or whatever. And I could try and just float that and see what's said. But what I want to do was for a city, and I think doing it for a county is going to be huge.
It's gonna be very huge. You may wanna look into the sociology department, probably, that's possibly, or the anthropology department.
Just offer a word of caution, they are not industry experts, they're not familiar. I participated in a number of studies of people trying to complete doctoral thesis related to EMS topics. The amount of time that you spend just trying to educate them on what EMS does is probably not
You
worth
should have just done it.
It's probably not worth the result that you're gonna get. If we're gonna spend the time educating people, we might as well spend the time doing the study ourselves.
Greg, I would just ask another question too, is that, has the county, and I'm not talking about medical fellows, but has the county been assigned a couple of those, fellows that were designated by the governor's office that, public health fellows?
I have possibly 4.
Yeah, so I don't know the,
Right.
utilization or the plant utilization of them, but there might be a segue that could be, tapped into as a resource from that particular program.
Could you just explain what the program is so they know?
It's basically that the governor has, and I can't remember how many per county, and I'm not an expert at it, but each county is assigned so many public health fellows, and they're not medical doctors and that kind of stuff. They may be PhD students, they may be in a variety of stages, but they're assigned to the county in a public health, they're going through a public health program through Cornell University. And they are sort of to be embedded with the county as an asset for public health emergencies, emergency response activities and, COVID activities and other components. But the county has discretion as to what assignments they can, basically give to them. But I'm not so sure, you'd have to assess who you get and what their capabilities are, but there may be something that you could, a percentage might be able to be allocated out of that particular program. So
There's the sheet they gave me, hundreds of people. You had doctorates, you had doctors, you had nursing staff, you had laborers and stuff like that. They had them all these different categories, and you had the opportunity, if you could justify the need for them, to apply to get the individual. But the individual had to agree to come to your area. And so what I also had to look at is like where they wanted to work. Was it Niagara County? Was it Erie County? Was it Suffolk County? Stuff like that. And that's how you start to put in what you want. And then you give you a little synopsis of the work. I think we wanted 4. I think we might have got 2, but they haven't started yet.
gotcha.
And that's one of the problems is the pandemic is essentially over. If you're in Niagara County, it's been over. But it's, that's not for the record. Thanks. And they're coming out, so I could look into that a little. But again, be careful who you get.
Yeah, and like I say, I don't know about it to be, but it's a resource that might be able to be utilized for some of the work if that, it would need a lot of direction, I'm sure.
The other issue, I think, is the ability to operationalize any potential solution. But
Yeah.
the ability to operationalize it does not belong to this council.
Right.
We wouldn't have an opportunity to do it, which is probably why every study we've seen so far has been on a county-by-county basis as opposed to a regional council basis. There's a number of them around the state, but we have no authority to operationalize, so what's the value of us obtaining the study?
All right, we'll ponder that, and I'll look into a couple things, hopefully for the next meeting. And if we can word search yours and just put Erie County, that'd be appreciated. Thanks.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the treasurer's report.
We have a motion to approve the treasurer's report. We have a motion, and we have a second. All right.
Bill second.
Oh, Bill's-
I made the motion.
Oh, okay.
Bill seconded.
All right, then happy, go lucky there. Anything else on the question? Nothing? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Medical Advisory Committee, I think the next meeting is March 16th. Does that sound right? No? I'm pretty sure that the REMAC meets on the 16th.
The REMAC meeting?
Yeah, yeah.
March 16th.
Okay, good. And that's still at Commerce Drive, right? Okay. Anything for the Medical Advisory Committee? New York State Council, the next meeting is April 11th and 12th. It's still going to be a mixed meeting. I intend to go. So if there's concerns, questions, and stuff like that, just let me know. I can bring it up. As far as the council, as New York State, I don't know if you want to touch on the year extension that we have.
Yeah, just keep in mind, the policy statement came out yesterday or day before related to certification extension for field providers. So whatever your level of care was that you are certified at or were certified, had a little bit of a gap going back to a few months ago, you would be extended for a one-year period. Here's policy statement. It is up on our website. I can't remember what the number is, but it's 2205. And so just keep in mind though, CICs and CLIs, instructor certifications were not extended. It is only, for certification for your EMS certification. So instructors were not extended, but that extension is based on the emergency order. And I guess, overall, it's a positive thing. If your application has been submitted for CME recertification, you'll still get that year as long as it's already submitted and pending. If you're in a refresher course, you should work with your, basically, you don't want to lose time, so there's some guidance that they sort of talked about related to, wait, if you're in a refresher, complete the refresher, and then perhaps wait till you test until you're in that 9-month window so you don't lose time. But those are some, sort of the kinks in the system. But other than that, we look at it as as certainly a good thing. The verifications can be done through the health commerce system for that extension. I have not been able to get an answer on whether they're going to issue 100% new cards or they're going to use the HCS system to continue the verifications. So right now the answer is HCS for continued verification of certification. So that's that.
Good. Carol?
So is this an extension on top of the extension?
Yes, you get, yes. So another year.
So we'll retire in April of 2000.
This is not going to happen. Was there anything for people who recently expired?
Yep. So the gap, they were included, and they go back to
August 1st.
was previously certified, Between August and January 31st, if those people, if you had expired in that period, you were granted a one-year extension
Okay.
going back to that particular period.
Just wanted to highlight that, because
Yeah,
that's,
so
that's
if you-
an
yeah,
interesting.
so in that period, if you expired, you are now active again with a one-year extension.
Great.
So
Okay, thanks.
that is correct. Don's got a question.
Sure.
I got a few. So I.
Oh, here you go.
Sorry. I heard you mention that if your application, research application was already in, they would get 4-year?
Yeah, I'm sorry, say it again?
If
You're gonna
somebody-
get- You're gonna get, you get the one-year extension to whatever your date is anyway.
Okay.
So you would still get that extension if you're already processed. If you are in a refresher course, that's where where the issue could come in, where you may wanna wait to test, is what the sort of recommendation would be.
So hypothetically, if I was gonna get a signature tonight and was gonna submit it tonight,
Mhm.
they're not getting that year, so I should hold off on that app.
Well, you would have already got, you get the year.
No, I haven't submitted yet, I would've.
Well, you didn't have to submit. I'm saying, what, if you were still certified, you got the year.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying me previously, but for research that would have been, having to be submitting this week, you would not wanna submit them, you'd wanna keep
Right,
them next year.
you should hold them for the appropriate period, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause they're not
verify
gonna-
them through HCS, everybody got the extension, so, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
there's-
I'm
yeah,
assuming they would've
they got
gotten the
another
year, but they
so you
would've-
can.
I didn't know if they-
You know, make
they
sure that they stay
benefit.
within the appropriate, you know, they're sort of extending that period too, because it says to be 3 years of, you know, so you'll end up, technically, if you're in the CME program, you could probably use stuff for up to a 4-year period, because you got the extension, you see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Um,
So with, you know, now keep in mind, there's always gonna be some modifications and changes. If the executive order goes away, that takes away some of our ability to do some of the unique things that we have been able to do. But year extension, you know, I think that's why they did it now, in case the executive order does, you know, perhaps expire, who knows? So,
Gotcha. The other thing I thought was a little interesting with that was it went into effect February 1st, but then they put the policy statement out at the end of the month.
that is
Any
correct.
reason why that occurred?
I'm not sure. I think it was in queue. We have multiple layers of approvals that have to occur, so the effective date,
Gotcha.
I can't answer that particular question. I can tell you what the policy statement says and what, you know, I mean, I don't know what the justification was for that yet.
All right. Thanks.
All right, let's nail them again. So,
Yes.
if you expired between that August and January date,
Yeah.
you're extended a year from your
From your
expiration date?
Yeah.
Right, so it's not from January 3rd?
No, it's whatever if you expired in August, you go to August.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. But I'm telling you to verify everything.
Trust and
Through the
verify.
Health Commerce site so that you can, you know what I mean? So, yes.
Is there any chance that the state would consider batch submissions to the health commerce site, so I don't have to type in 253?
I know, good suggestion. I can't answer the question, but I can tell you that they're trying to augment and improve that system, because you gotta do it individually instead of put in 32 or 60 or perhaps 200, so. Yeah. Perfect.
Or any service from the state where I could submit a roster to the state and they could batch process for me.
The answer to that is definitely no.
It's-
I'm
if-
sure you're not from the
Not-
government here to help.
We are customer service oriented, however, with the lack of resources, we don't have the capabilities.
I'll even add to that, can UBMD update those expiration dates by
You
year?
can also use the portal, right?
No, we
No, you
put
have to go in
$5,000
manually.
for
Yeah.
an assessment of his job.
So moved.
Thanks so much for that. And thanks to the Mecca of Knowledge for helping us out. Because what that does is for the training sites, it really kills you on the recertification.
Yes, it does.
You know, and it's an income that offsets the cost of doing full classes, so. But we'll live. We'll live. Anything else? Nothing else for state council?
Greg, have you heard anything at state council about part F of the governor's budget? Proposed change start at 30, is the council had a discussion about consolidating position?
Not that I've gotten. Not that I've gotten. Erie County, me. All right, COVID's down. We're reducing our vaccine administration, but we're still trying to go towards modifying it towards the 6-month-old and up, but very limited outreach for vaccine. Testing has been decreased significantly. However, we believe testing's gonna start coming up. There's a whole bunch of distribution that's going on in Erie County, which I'm sure every county. We've got such a storage of PPE and stuff. We're trying to get it out. We're trying to emphasize the fact that even though the mask mandates, on the side right now, still businesses need to stock up with the stuff. So we're constantly distributing masks. We utilize the emergency managers for Erie County for distribution. I didn't make a whole lot of friends there, but what we did was we sent the PPE to the municipalities, the 43 or 47 municipalities. The emergency managers took it and then distributed to people. It was the masks, and then it was test kits, which from my perspective were good. It was quite a workload for the emergency managers, but they got it done. And now what we're doing is we're doing a second round. We're trying to target summertime things, camps and things like that to get some stuff out. And then we hope to deploy a lot of PPE for the schools and businesses in the event that it starts to spike up again in the fall. So our warehouse is busy right now putting all these orders together. The FEMA ambulance that the state was good enough that our little buddy over here just happened to give it, well, you might want to put a little thing together about that. Next thing you know, we have some FEMA ambulances, and they did a great job. Up to today, they've taken 569 calls. And it's been spread out. We've tried not to concentrate on any one area, but they've been in Orchard Park, down south. They've been all over, even places we didn't dispatch them to, but that's okay. All right. But they've been helpful, but they're leaving us as of
The FEMA assets, depending on whether an extension is approved or not, there's an extension request that has been submitted. It's going through the channels. But the 911 assets that are in Erie, Niagara, and Genesee County, those will be demobilized effective Friday morning, 7 a.m. So Thursday night overnight will be their last night. We will, depending on for the interfacility transfers, there's still, basically in upstate, we've got resources here staged in Buffalo, we've got resources staged in Rochester also. Either 50% of those will be gone Friday night at 8 p.m. or 100% of those will be gone Friday night at 8 p.m. So depending on whether the small window extension will be granted or not, we won't know until probably the last minute, unfortunately. And then keep in mind that the units that we're using for interfacility transfers, we will still have a smaller number, a much smaller contingency of state mobilization resources. So the ambulance company, they'll be dispersed throughout the state, but there'll be less resources available either way effective Friday. So transitioning back to utilization of mobile resources. So.
And I got to thank Ed, because it was a phone call. He goes, we got these things. We're talking about the stress of the system and all these things are going on and how we're going to cover calls. And he goes, there are these ambulances sitting in Batavia, but don't tell them I told you, which we just did.
We try to do the right thing. I mean, I think that the county has been, each of the counties that have submitted, we actually had Steuben County use, Steuben County also used them for a shorter amount of time, but it's really data driven. It was COVID, mostly COVID related. Some of the calls obviously were not COVID, but it was for system stress. Large number, a high percentage of the commercial services had, when COVID was peaking, had a lot of people out with illness related to COVID. So, certainly they were justified. There was no bill to the agencies, to the county, or to the patients that were served. So,
There was one crew that was excellent. They were able to repair their own vehicle with coat hangers. And we didn't tell the state that. We said, all right, just fine. Just take this call and go home. But they were very resourceful. And I've really received no complaints at all about the service. So thank you. Erie County's going to hold a CLI class. Bill Stryker's a hard man to say no to because he doesn't hang up the phone until you agree with him. And if we accidentally get disconnected, calls back. Were we disconnected? So we're gonna hold it on the, what did we agree to?
14th,
And 21st. We're gonna try to condense, it's normally a one night and 2-day class. We're gonna take the night and we're gonna try to condense it into the 2 days. That way we don't have people driving around too much.
What month?
May. All right, and that's, you told me where, but I forgot where.
down in our DSS building in Warsaw.
Okay.
And what are the dates again?
May 14th and 21st. Okay, and he's got a whole bunch of people out there, and that's gonna be helpful, and he's allowed us to open it up, so we'll be posting it shortly. And the current, do we wanna touch on the EMT class, the academy-style EMT class that the state supported us on? What the state did was they called up and they said, do you think that you could do an EMT class in 5 or so weeks with specific funding coming from the state? It must have been a grant that they got. And what it was non-agency people, you know, people that don't have the opportunity without out-of-pocket costs to go and take EMT classes. And they also had some National Guard people, and they did it across the state. There's a whole bunch of places. So the Erie County got on board. We tried it, and it's a tough class. I mean, think back to when you were starting, and EMT class in 5 weeks it's a lot, all right? Especially Buffalo Fire does it, but that's their job for the month, 5 weeks. These people have their other jobs and stuff like that, and still coming in and doing it. So we'll hopefully. Have you had to teach any of that, Ryan Earl? Have you taught any of that class?
I don't think so.
No. I think you'd remember. They all run together, don't they? But that's wrapping up soon, so we'll see how that does. Maybe that's a new way to do things. 5 weeks, you have your EMT card, and we can hopefully go to, create a good product to put out there. And Erie County's first ALS class is just completed a week or two ago, and that was another one that was in conjunction with Wyoming County and Erie County. Another phone call from Bill that he wouldn't hang up until I agreed. So we did that, and Ann was our instructor out in Wyoming County, and I was told that I put her to sleep during my lecture, so I hope you enjoyed the rest. But we are seeing, we got a lot of work to do with that class to change things and address some issues that we had, but we are having pretty good results right now. I think we're up to 7 have tested and all passed in the high 80s, 90s.
Yeah, Wyoming County portion of it, 3 out of the 6 have passed.
But the other 3 haven't.
They haven't tested yet.
Right.
Friday or next Friday.
Yeah.
Testing March 12th.
Yeah, so I mean, that was very encouraging, and you know my position on advanced. That's gonna be the thing that's gonna help us a lot in the future, so congratulations, nice job out there. For some reason, they put me, I had to do the geriatrics lecture, all right, and they would not let it go until they took a picture of me in front of the first slide. So, don't get old. I think that's it for me. Wyoming County, William.
Same thing on the COVID side. Our numbers are down, they're very good. We backed off as of last Friday, our drive-through testing, so that's been reeled back to the health department. We've been vaccinating as much as the need is at the health department as well, so really scaled back. As far as our distribution of the home test kits, that went through our local libraries across the county and stuff. It worked out pretty well there. First come, first served. Pretty happy with that for the most part. I guess that's about it on the COVID side of things. So, mentioned you got the AMT class. It worked well. Obviously, we got a few logistical things to work on. Overall, the numbers are looking great. Thank Erie County as well. We did have an EMT class conclude a week or 2 ago, and we fired up another one last night as well. So numbers are looking okay at this point. Ann's teaching again, starting last
Surprise.
night. Yeah, go figure. Driving across the county again. But that's what, 21 in that class? The originals?
Yeah, there's like 28 people there last night.
It was full room. there's an interest there, so we're looking at some other types of classes in conjunction with this EMS issue form that we had. I also put out a survey across the board to identify, get the feelings from the men and women out on the boots on the ground. So one of the concerns is daytime classes, so we're taking a look at that and see. We've offered them in the past with not enough people to run them, successfully. So we're working on that. The other thing, working with Emily, we're going to return back to our spring CME weekend to help on the CME portion as well. So Emily and I just got going on that last week. So.
Hard to hang up on him, isn't it?
It is. And he's so nice, it's hard to say no.
She hangs up on me.
And a report.
Anything for Wyoming County? West New York Stress have told me they did 7 debriefings and 2 trainings in the past 2 months.
7 debriefings?
7 debriefings and 2 trainings. Committee reports. Ms. Barber. We're back to you for budget.
As far as budget, as we talked, we'll get the budget committee together to start preparing for the new budget year.
Okay.
We have, did we figure out all of our committee members?
I didn't really change it because I didn't get any. I would say it's status quo, whatever it was in the past,
Okay.
because nobody really gave me any interest to
Okay.
change.
So we try to get a hold of whoever is still on the committee to talk about, any suggestions or putting together whatever we might feel is needed in the coming year. If anyone has any suggestions, they can
You
get a
sent
hold
out
of
the
me.
committee list
Some
again?
things we can look at, things that we're able to.
Just in the
do.
email. Crystal sent out the committee list, again, just to update. And if anybody wants to move, change, or just let me know, and we'll take care of that. Anything else for budget? Okay, membership, Ms. Lapp.
Right now, we've got, Erie County 13 members, 3 alternates. Wyoming County is at 10 members. We did submit a Wyoming County application for, Sue Stretzel from Wyoming, or from Gainesville, I'm sorry, that would like to join the council, so that would give us 11. So I'd like to make a motion, we accept that. I do have to follow up with Josh Lemke, because he possibly has left the area.
He's still in Lancaster. I reached out to him, and he's still interested.
And he's still interested?
Yeah, I shouldn't say I reached out to him. I ran into him at a training.
We do have one alternate position open for that either county could use. So if you wanted to appoint him to an alternate position, that would fill that.
Do we know when he had, his application's been in for a year, right?
Yes, he's the last open one for Erie County.
Oh, I'll leave it up to you, all right. So you need a motion to accept her name?
Sue Stretzel from Wyoming and
Okay.
Josh for Erie County alternate.
Okay, so we have a motion to accept Sue Stretzel for Wyoming County. We have a second on that? We got a second from Bill. Anything on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? Good, we'll put her on the committee right away. And then we need a motion for Josh Lemke for Erie County alternate.
I got hands to make a motion. Crystal, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Anything on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? It's going past everybody's bedtime. Are they passing the meds out at the nursing home? Or?
And will you call Josh to let him know?
And then I'll send you the information.
All right, because I'll add him.
The only thing else I have is there are some terms that are ending the end of this month, and I'll send out an email to everybody so they can just hit a response that they're staying on the council.
Okay. Is there anybody that timed out? 'Cause do we have with bylaws, do we have a limit on the length of time you can serve?
I don't know if
term
it's
limit?
still in the bylaws.
Or did we take that out?
The last time the attorney said that it wasn't enforceable, it was a suggestion.
Okay. All right, just want to make sure. Okay, anything else for membership? Systems, Mr. Bronner. Training and Ed, Mr. Zamrak.
The only question I have is, are we gonna be holding any instructor updates for CLIs or CICs?
We are, I just don't have a date.
Okay.
We're trying to redo the way we've done it, and it was kind of a back to basics instructor update. That focuses a lot on not just instruction, changes of instruction, how to deal with the video stuff and, you know, all those news ways. So we're trying to change that around. But I can get that to you probably within a week, and then we can distribute it. We're also hopefully gonna, well, there's a couple other things. We want to try make it a little more interactive and updated than just coming in and going over some stuff, so.
Okay, thank you.
We won't be holding any IC classes for any length of time because of the state's preference to go towards more of the NAMC. They still haven't updated the IC program, so we can't do the ICs right now, so. Bylaws, Mr. Burt, did he ever showed up? Is he all right?
Oh,
Nothing.
been really busy.
Anybody else for bylaws? No. Awards. All right, it's coming down to that time. I've looked through the awards things. I got some blank applications here, and we just have to decide how we're going to do it compared to how we've done it in the past. In the past, we put monies towards it, and we've been told that we can't. Last time we talked about doing a dinner. We had a good support from Twin City, AMR. We're just reminding them that we never took it, so if it's still there. We know inflation and all might have made it less, but whatever. But we just wanted to decide on how we want to do it. And so we've done dinners in the past, and the total in the past, we've been up around 3,000 or so, right, Madonna?
Total.
Yeah, total. Where I think we can probably bring that down, instead of going to an actual restaurant, we could hold it at a firehouse, have it catered by whether it's somebody like a chef's or Chicken Pizza Works, something like that. Or we can go back to the other thing if we want, but we can't use the funds for the dinner from our budget. The awards and stuff like that can be, but not the actual dinner itself.
For the award, with prior approval and that for the award.
Yeah, that's nothing, prior approval.
You can have a guest speaker that you could pay. You can have somebody come in to give some sort of training or whatever, that money's can be used towards that type of thing. And possibly towards a facility, I think if that is for that purpose, like a training included. But
I don't know if we want to make an awards dinner or training.
I know.
I mean, I don't know. I always enjoyed it. I enjoyed, you know, bringing them together and doing it all those years. And I think they appreciated it. Because for many years, except for last year, we had just about every category filled. And I'll be glad to distribute the list of people over the last however many years. I've been doing it, 15 years, 18 years. But their applications have to be submitted to the state by July 1st. They're very specific about the expiration date has to be before July 1st. So if we back that up, then that means it really should be to the council by the latest June 1st. And that gives time to get the committee together to look through the applications and discuss it. So any you know, bushwhacking you can do right now to start getting some stimulation up. Can we use funds from the council to advertise it? Do you think?
We may, I can ask, Mr. Major, would you know anything about that?
I would refer to
Okay.
The mecca of knowledge?
yeah, and they're so strict on those contracts now that
Yeah.
I wouldn't wanna mislead you. And as you know, Lynn has left
Lynn,
us.
I just heard that today, I guess
Yeah,
she
Lynn
starts.
is, I know that they've hired, I can't think of the gentleman's name, somebody for contracts, but, as far as the unit chief, they haven't decided yet, or, you know, obviously they're gonna post that, so.
Right, well, the woman I spoke to today was very helpful, so
Yeah, good.
she informed me of that, and they've all been very good about
Yeah.
answering questions,
It's a tough, it's
So I can-
definitely a tough job that they've got, trying
Yes,
to balance everything.
short-staffed and all the changes. I can get a hold of Ms. Gonzala and ask her.
Sure, thanks.
Check into that for us.
So we can have some coverage. I'll try to get some free stuff, but nothing's free nowadays. How's the council's feeling about having it, say, at a firehouse, as opposed to, being expensive? The more expensive we get, the fewer people that can come, all right? I don't think it has to be a fancy thing. I mean, I can, tonight, when I leave here, I go to Hillcrest, I can tentatively secure Hillcrest's room that holds 126. Again, not fancy, all right, but it's functional. And then if we find another place, we don't have to do Hillcrest. I'll just get something, I can just get them just in case. But that's in Orchard Park, so you gotta think about the drive time. I mean, we used to move it around, alternate Wyoming-Erie County, and we went to some nice places that, it was just nice. I still remember, what was the llama was watching me eat once at some place in Wyoming County. He was looking in the window, it's like, no, I am not sharing.
Last time
I think it was a kangaroo.
We held it there in the lumberyard, not the lumberyard, Hole in the Wall.
Yeah, hole in the wall.
No, that was a good place, I enjoyed that,
Yes.
yeah.
They closed down after we left, so.
They had to
See?
close
So.
during COVID.
So, again, going for cost, is the council okay with us looking towards a firehouse just and having it just catered? Nothing fancy, I mean, like I said, the big thing is bringing people together and acknowledging them.
Great.
I'm sorry?
Pro for it.
Oh, good, thank you. Wow, I appreciate it. So, again, I'll tentatively get Hillcrest. We just need a date. But doesn't mean it has to be Hillcrest. Somebody else wants to go somewhere else. I just want to have some place that we have, which I don't know if we're going to be fighting a lot. I had something else here. Applications to be fair. Have cost. The plaques and certifications I can take care of, like we've done in the past. In the past, we've invited a council member and one guest for the council member, and then for the most part, for the award winners, if you want to call it recipients, we allowed them to bring one person. The exception sometimes is for the youth award. We let them bring two parents if they so want. And then we've also allowed people, if we have room, to bring other people if they reimburse us for the per meal thing. So we've done that in the past. I looked, again, just threw it out, chicken and pizza work, it's gonna cost us $15, $16 per person. Chefs was about the same thing, $16 per person. So in the past, we've had an average of about 70 people come. Our state health representative seems to weasel his way to get himself invited every now and then. I've never, he always brings one of his family members. I've never met the same one twice. But that's it. I mean, so we'll get started on that. I was thinking the date of the dinner, right, would be August 31st. Now, that's the week prior to our scheduled meeting. The only reason why I picked August 31st, the week prior to our regular meeting, is because Hillcrest is booked on the 1st. If we don't go there, we can have it any day we want. But I would also ask that we make it official to move our meeting to August 31st, so we don't have to come back the next week and have a meeting. All right. We've done it in the past. We've broken out into the corner. If you want to get something passed through pretty quick, that's the meeting to do it, because everybody wants to get back to the bar. I'm open to any suggestions. Feel free to send them to me, but we'll start working on this out now. Again, the application is online. In the past, I've made it kind of a rule that if anybody writes an application, I don't change it. You know, these are applications. These are synopsises written by an individual who wants to recognize somebody they know. I don't want to put my words in there and change. So you know, unless you feel different, when we meet in committee, we can talk about it, but it's not for me to change there. I take it as it comes, so. Any questions? Okay, I got the key to the walk-in cooler at Hillcrest, just in case the dinner goes long. Mr. Brenner?
Just move that we reschedule the September 7th meeting of this council to August 31st.
Thank you. We have a motion to move September 7th meeting to August 31st, same time. We have a second. Anything on the question?
Who's second?
All in favor? All right, thank you for that. And I'll get a hold of Mahoney and make sure he makes the proper notifications, because I think he's got to put it out there. Probably he knows better than I do. Well, you guys know. So, all right, thanks so much. That's that. DOH, Ed Major.
I've said enough really tonight, but you know about the FEMA, you know about the extension, you know about the, well, if you don't know about the budget, you should know about the budget. It's up for some public comment and those kind of components, but I think that we've shared that, it's been shared, it's, it's proposed as a modernization of the EMS system related to upcoming regulations and that kind of stuff. But there's been feedback from the Nurses Association, feedback from Clinton and some others related to it. So I believe that it's it's moving forward. There's I think one more public comment period or something to that effect. I'm not the expert on the budget, but you should familiarize yourself with that if you're not. And if you did not receive it, you can certainly I'll email it to Chris the portions of the budget that are related to the EMS system. If you're interested in reading the actual verbiage, changing the definition of EMS and some other components there. So, other than that, I don't think we've had some staffing changes. Lynn Persia from finances transferred to a different position within the department. We've got Teresa Allen. She was previously a program aide. She's coming back as the council operations person. So she'll be assigned to WEREMSCO and council operations. And there's some other, we've added Matt Wiley to our bureau. He's the preparedness sort of chief. He's going to be working related to some of the hospital deliverables and also the emergency preparedness and response side of the house. But we anticipate prioritizing our inspections and the work that we have not been able to focus on over the last, 2 years. So we're going to be reevaluating that. And if I've got any questions, or if you've got any questions, you can certainly shoot them my way. But other than that, I don't think there's anything significant to report at this point.
Cool. Anything for the health department? Okay, special committees, Carol.
Okay, I emailed out to you all the request for proposal for program agency. The contract is coming up June 1st, and we needed to take a look at, are we getting what we're paying for? And so therefore what we decided, since we have to kind of like start this from the beginning, we decided to go through the deliverables, find out which deliverables. And those deliverables are underneath the scope of work and the one through 20. Those are deliverables. So we went through and added some in, such as the assist and support WEREMSCO in the modernization of its record keeping and communication process, including the creation of unique email accounts for each council member at a WEREMSCO domain. So some things like that were added in. We're looking for, yes, a little bit more. It is not limited to this. This is our minimum that we would like to see. And the request for proposals can include more if they wish to, than what was listed here. I'm sorry, I got a cold, so my brain's a little cold addled. But next to me? Yeah, I'm sitting next to you. Give me kisses. So, in a second, directional harassment there. sorry.
Unrecorded thing.
Yeah, okay.
That's-
yeah,
Recorded on the web now. Anyways, but what will happen with this is that if the council approves it tonight, it will go on to the legal consult, and then they will then do the advertisement. We put in here that we want it back by, all proposals to be back by 5 p.m. on April the 11th, 2022. And it's gonna be, they're gonna be emailed to me personally. And if there's any questions or anything, they can be also, called to me. And, then probably on around April the 19th, we will have another committee meeting and then present to the council our findings at that for the request for proposals that were submitted. Any questions? Okey-dokey.
So what's gonna happen April 11th again?
What?
April 11th, what's gonna happen on that day?
April 11th is the date that it has to be in by.
That the people have to put in their,
Yeah,
Okay.
by 5 p.m. That's in the very last paragraph, Chris,
okay.
for the evaluation of proposals.
Is there an opportunity in here for them to ask questions?
Yes, yes, they can contact me to ask questions. That's my cell phone number down there.
But there's no cutoff date on it.
Well, it would be 5 p.m. on April 11th, 2022.
Okay.
Which if they got questions at 4:30 on April 11th, 2022, I think they're kind of in trouble.
Okay.
Because they're not gonna be able to put together a document in half an hour, so to get it submitted, so,
So logical.
yeah. so
Just,
like-
I'm just saying, normally there's a cutoff time.
So, the committee, the, contract committee would like to, move to have the RFP, the request for proposal for program agency, accepted by the council and to be forwarded on to legal for their consultation and further action.
So we have it coming, is this seconded? So, all right, so we have the recommendation, seconded, motion from the committee, to.
Who
vote.
seconded it?
It's a seconded, it comes from Kenny, so it's seconded already. So, don't, you threw me a curveball. To submit our request for proposal for review and moving on, you want the council to accept the request for proposal, and then we'll forward it on to the attorney for the continuation of the process. Yes, is that good? All right. Anything on the question?
One thing that I forgot to say is
You
that
can have your own
probably
question.
all, wait a minute, I'm sorry. But is that we'll also be getting a hold, probably forwarding this to all the program agencies across the state that are in existence, so that they too can have a chance to submit if they so desire to.
Well, I'm assuming that Mahoney will do that. He'll make sure it's in, Buffalo
Yes,
News
I'll
is
mention that
our
to him.
paper. He'll make sure it's covered.
We
Good.
just wanted to make it as fair of a process as possible and to look at what other options may be out there, nothing against UBMD. But, you know, I mean, it's kind of like, this, as we can tell with Madonna and the problem she's having with the state, with the budget, it's better to make it a open process than what it is to close it up and just keep on renewing and renewing and renewing.
Okay. Anything else on the question?
Is there any value to giving an opportunity for those bidding to present to the council?
Possibly, I don't see why they, I mean, this is an open meeting. There's no reason why they wouldn't be able to come and present to the council on our meeting on, thank you, May 4th. Because it's an open meeting, we got Emily here right now, so Emily will, she's not gonna be allowed.
I guess to your point, there's no
Because
indication.
if we're receiving them on the 4th for review, it wouldn't be an opportune time for them. to
Well,
present.
I will be forwarding the proposals to the council members
Okay.
prior to, okay? And then if the individuals who are representing that agency wish to come and present, they would be more than welcome to, upon the chair's discretion, of course.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw you under the bus.
That's right, I'm a big boy, I need a big bus. Well, the two, I don't know if I can make amendments or adjustments to this, is I'd like to see a cutoff date for questions, so it's not 4:30, because they're gonna do it.
Well,
The other thing is,
yeah.
Have we described how you want the proposals presented?
They have to be in email, so however, whatever format they wish to use, that they can do.
That's, you're very generous with that.
Yes. We want an open, creative process is what we want, because it's possible somebody will step up to the plate with something we never thought of before and say, oh, that's like a really good idea.
Well, the only other thing I'd like, it doesn't have, maybe not here, but if Mahoney puts out, when he advertises it, that they're eligible to come, because it doesn't say that they can come and make a presentation. It doesn't, they should be told that if they want to make a presentation, that we'll allot time for them. Just let us know what they need.
Yes.
For the presentation. If that's the only, that's the
And
only.
I can address that when it comes time, but, you know, I mean, this is an open meeting, so therefore, anybody is always welcome to come and speak their mind.
Oh, so welcome.
To that point, I believe Carol's gonna receive applications and distribute them. The committee's gonna review the applications on the 19th.
On the
I believe
19th.
Their schedule, there's an opportunity for the committee to invite candidates they're interested in hearing to speak to the
That's
council.
even better. Good,
Right,
good.
so that way the committee can act as the vetting body, so
Yeah.
in the weird chance that there's 100 responses, right, you select down to a reasonable population from, and you'll choose a final bidder and invite them to speak to us.
That's good. I like that. All right, good. Anything else on the question? All in favor?
Okay.
Any opposed? That carries. Thank
Okay, I'll
you.
forward this off then to Mr.
Came from the
Mahoney.
Program Agency Committee, is that what we're calling our committee?
We call it the contract committee. I'm sorry.
I'll forward this off to Mr. Mahoney now.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. Nice work done by the committee.
I want to thank my committee, they did a
Yeah.
good job, and it's kind of an arduous process, and especially when you're looking at for certain things, 24 pages of deliverables, your brain is just like going.
Well, I did get a little panicky yesterday, and I kind of wrote my own for 35 pages. They had some input and got it together, and I was 35 pages, and then I finally called her. I said, I haven't heard anything. So I made one. And she said, oh, we already made it.
It's been emailed to you.
Wow, 2 minutes after I called. So, but anyway, nice job. Thanks, whoever, I'm not even sure who was on the committee, but it was a nice job. Program agency, what's up?
So, one of the points I was gonna point out tonight, Ed had graciously taken care of for me, was on the card extensions. A couple other things, so there's still 4 BLSFR agencies out there that still have yet to submit their vehicle registration in accordance with the CV program. That deadline has been extended to July 1st. So we just casually remind them at the moment that it still needs to be done. With that, there's also still 2 agencies that are in limbo with transitioning to electronic. One is AMR, who's at Buffalo with AMR.
Oh, Buffalo Fire.
Yeah, Buffalo Fire, they're still working their contract, so they're trying to move forward, but they're kind of stalled at the moment, so. And the other is waiting for their software vendor to do the training, which has been held up due to such a vast amount of people transitioning. The state's aware of it. They're currently not in jeopardy of their CV program because they've made the state aware, but there are still 2 agencies. Recently.
Which agency was that?
Buffalo's one, Seneca Hogue is the other. Seneca
Well,
Hogue
make
is
sure it's not
actually
me.
Red Alert, but Red Alert is not acceptable in New York State. So they had to transition. Recently, it come to light that There were a handful of the BLSFRs that are expired and have been expired for at least 2 years, if not greater than 2 years. We are working to get them back registered as BLSFRs. I won't say certified, they're not certified, but we are working with them. The way that this came about is the state has started issuing their stickers in accordance with the BLSFR vehicle registration. And when they went to register that particular entity, they looked up and found out that they have been expired for a while. So there's actually 17, 3 of which are in Wyoming County, and I've had the conversation with Bill. The other 14 are in Erie County, and we are working with those agencies to get them back compliant. The other thing is Catholic Health has submitted Dr. Tisser for being the Sisters rep, which has been mentioned. I did want to point out, Greg, that the state meeting is actually the 12th and 13th. You said 11th and 12th, I believe.
I'll get there 11th.
I mean, so do I.
12th and 13th, I stand correct.
And the REMAC meeting is March 16th and will be at Twin City at $1,300. Other than that, not reports.
Anything for program agency?
So the dates for the council is April 12th and 13th, or
12th and 13th. The drinking party starts at 11.
I wish I had it right now.
All right, any old business? Any new business? Mr. Brenner?
We received correspondence, I believe, that Dr. Bart's term on the CMAC is up. I'd like to nominate him for a subsequent term on the CMAC to represent this organization.
We have a motion for Dr. Bart to continue representing us at the CMAC. Just a note that we had sent May?
Last May, Senator.
Last May, a re-up from him, and it might have got lost in the mix. But we have a motion to resubmit the Dr. Bart. Many seconds. Anything on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? Carries. I did, just in case, I did call Dr. Bart, make sure he wanted to be. So, and he was very happy. What's the name of it? Okay. And then we have new business, Sisters of Charity Hospital, requesting the approval of Dr. Andrew Tisser? All right, DO as a physician representative to the REMAC. Do I have a motion? We got a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Anything on the question? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Emily, you'll let her know? Em know? Time to go home.
Andrew is usually late.
Well, we're on tape right now, so I can't say nothing. All right, things have changed so much in my lifetime. Anything else? Any other business? I'll take a motion to adjourn. Lots of people, motion to adjourn, seconds, and all in favor? We're out of here. Thanks. Oh, there's still cookies up here.